Hey everyone! Today, we're going to share the inspiring story of Ly Tu Nha, a single mother who's doing everything she can to raise her young daughter with love, strength, and determination. Every day she faces the challenges of being a parent on her own, but she never gives up. Alongside her, there's Kiet, a truly good man who's been a constant support, showing care and kindness. Their story is a beautiful reminder of the power of love, resilience, and the impact that genuine, selfless people can have on each other's lives. It's a journey filled with struggles, but also with hope and the promise of brighter days ahead. So, stay with us as we dive into Ly Tu Nha's story, where courage, love, and compassion come together in the most incredible way. Life hasn't been easy for Kiet, but he's been doing his best to power through the struggles. It's early morning, and the sunlight is just starting to shine through the canopy of trees, casting a warm glow over the woodshop. The sounds of the world come alive. The hum of passing cars, the rhythmic thump of wood being worked, and the birds singing in the distance. Amidst the towering piles of lumber, Kiet and Nam are hard at work, side by side, pushing through the long hours. Kiet, always the dedicated leader, patiently guides Nam through the tasks ahead. "We've got a lot of wood coming in today," he says. "You should move the smaller pieces first." His instructions are clear, practical, and full of the responsibility he feels for the work and his team. Nam nods quietly, taking the direction in stride. They both get to work, moving swiftly to get everything done. Kiet comments on the weather as he shifts a piece of wood. "It's been raining a lot. These logs are starting to rot." The pace quickens as they try to get everything sorted before the wood goes bad. Sweat begins to form on their foreheads, and the heat from the sun beats down on their tired backs. But they keep going, determined to push through. Kiet looks at a particularly large log and turns to Nam. "Hey, could you help me with this one? It's too heavy for me to move on my own." The work continues as usual, but exhaustion is starting to take its toll. Nam looks over at Kiet, noticing how worn out he is. "You go ahead and take care of your stuff. I've got this one," he insists. Kiet smiles, grateful for the help, and nods in agreement. Before walking away, he gives one last instruction, his voice warm and encouraging. "If you finish early, you can go visit your wife and kids." What Kiet doesn't know is that Nam isn't just any worker. Nam is Tu Nha's ex-husband, a fact that Kiet is still unaware of. It's a secret that Nam has kept hidden, and as the day goes on, it seems like the weight of that secret grows heavier. For now, though, Kiet continues on, unaware of the complicated past that links his workers together. This moment in the woodshop is just another day in the life of hard-working individuals who face their own battles. For Kiet, it's a day filled with responsibility, caring for his team and trying to balance the weight of his duties. For Nam, it's a moment of quiet reflection, knowing that the work he's doing now is far from the life he once had with Tu Nha. They both carry their burdens silently, but as the sun sets over the woodshop, it's clear that their stories are far from over. Nam was working alone, hauling each small log by himself. His frame was small, but his determination was immense. He pushed through the tiring labor one log at a time, never slowing down. It wasn't easy, and as the minutes dragged on, the weight of the task began to settle in. He paused for a moment, wiping the sweat from his brow, and took a breath, letting the brief rest give him a bit of relief. As he stood there catching his breath, his thoughts began to wander. The job was getting harder, and he couldn't shake the feeling that things weren't as they used to be. Lately, there hasn't been much work for drying the planks, he thought to himself. That task, once steady, had slowed down, leaving him with more time to think about other things. And right now, what weighed most heavily on his mind was his family. His heart ached when he thought of his wife and children. It had been a while since he'd had time to visit them, and the distance between them felt like it was growing by the day. He hadn't been able to make it home lately because the work had kept him tied up for long hours. But today, something felt different. There was an urgency, a quiet but persistent feeling that maybe he could finish up early today. He was determined to wrap up his work quickly, hoping for just a few precious hours to see them. The thought of his family brought a sense of peace, and he used that as fuel to push through the exhaustion. Each log, each task, seemed more manageable when he thought of the warmth of home waiting for him. He knew the work wasn't going to stop anytime soon, but the thought of being reunited with his loved ones, even for a little while, made it all feel worth it. Nam's mind drifted back to the job. The heavy logs, the sweat on his brow, the constant motion of lifting and carrying. But it was all just a means to an end. A way to provide, a way to keep moving forward. And for Nam, forward was always in the direction of his family. That was the purpose behind every action, every moment of sacrifice, and every log he carried. As he picked up another log, the weight on his back seemed lighter, his steps a little faster. He could almost picture his kids running toward him, their laughter filling the air, the familiar smile of his wife lighting up his heart. It wasn't much, but it was everything. It was the reminder of what really mattered, and that kept him going. Nam wasn't just working for today, he was working for tomorrow, for the moments that lay ahead with his family. And so, with renewed energy, he returned to his task, determined to finish quickly. The promise of seeing his wife and children, of reuniting with the ones he loved, gave him the strength to continue. It was what kept him pushing step by step, even when the work felt endless. The day would come to an end soon, and when it did, Nam would find himself exactly where he wanted to be, at home with his loved ones. Tuna left home early in the morning, eager to welcome the new day. Today she had a special mission. She had to go to a small village nearby to harvest some jackfruit. The path was narrow, lined with tall grass and occasional wildflowers, but before long, the familiar sight of jackfruit trees appeared on the horizon. Tuna's heart pounded as she saw the fruit-laden trees. Wow, there are so many jackfruits on these trees, she thought to herself, a smile spreading across her face. She stood for a moment, admiring the sight before her, then decided to climb one of the trees. She knew it was dangerous, but she couldn't help herself. She had to. The smell of ripe jackfruit filled the air, and it was intoxicating. "These are perfectly ripe. They smell so good," Tuna muttered as she picked the first one from the tree. She carefully picked each jackfruit one by one, her joy growing with each one she placed in her basket. For Shuya, this was more than just picking fruit. It was a chance to go to the market. She knew that selling jackfruit there would help cover some of her living expenses, and every penny she earned was worth it. The thought of being able to earn extra income for her family made her feel proud. As she walked to the market, the fruits in her basket attracted attention. "Grandma, buy some jackfruit!" she heard a vendor shout, and soon she was surrounded by curious customers. Shuya soon sold all the fruits she had brought. She couldn't help but feel proud as she once again slung the basket over her shoulder. It was a good day, one that brought in a little money and a lot of hope for the future. On her way home, she passed by where G was working, and without thinking, she called out to him from afar. "Kiet! My child and I just got back from the market," she called, her voice echoing in the warm breeze. Kiet looked up and immediately smiled when he saw Tu Nha. He walked over to her, curious about her day. "Where did you two go?" he asked. Tu Nha's face softened with affection as she replied, "I went to pick jackfruit and sell it at the market." Kiet raised his eyebrows, slightly confused. "You brought the baby to the market with you?" he asked, noticing that she had brought her daughter with her to the market. Tu Nha quickly reassured him. "No, I left the baby at a friend's house near the market. I wanted to do some things without worrying." She spoke warmly, her tone filled with love and care for her child. Kiet's face softened with worry as he glanced at Tu Nha. "I miss the baby. Do you mind if I hold her for a bit?" His voice was filled with sincere affection for the child. Tu Nha, always considerate of Kiet's busy schedule, gently shook her head. "I know you're very busy, Kiet, but maybe when you're done with work, you can come visit us at home." Kiet smiled, feeling relieved and happy at the thought of seeing the child again. "I'll stop by this afternoon," he promised, already looking forward to the visit. "I'll be there as soon as possible." Tu Nha nodded, feeling grateful for Kiet's kindness. It was always comforting to know that despite their busy lives, they could still trust each other. As she watched Kiet return to work, she felt a sense of contentment wash over her. It had been a hard day's work, but there had also been small victories, and now she had the promise of Kiet's visit to look forward to. She headed home, the warmth of the day still lingering in the air, but somehow she felt lighter. There was something comforting about the rhythm of her routine, the familiar faces at the market, and the small, tender moments shared with Kiet. And as the sun began to set, the familiar faces at the market and the small, tender moments shared with Kiet. And as the sun began to set, she couldn't help but feel a quiet joy in the simple things. The things that really made life worth living.